But it is, like, you can set your mind to do it, or you can set your limits to fail.
Exactly.
Like, it's all mental.
Get inspired. Transform your life. Welcome to Best Interest Radio.
All right, so today on the show we have Amy, and how do you say your last name? Sorry?
Pitt, the D is silent.
Amy Pidt, the D is silent.
Yes,
so.
just like Brad, but cooler.
That's awesome. So I was referred to Amy through, once again, Colleen Ferlot, who I did a podcast with earlier. If you haven't checked that out, check it out because there's some cool stories in that. And Colleen is just a great person in general. She referred me to Charles Burrell, which leads us to why Amy is here.
Absolutely.
So Amy has gone through a series of transformations in her life and overcome quite a bit, and led her to doing a marathon for the Humanity Project. But I think before we get into that, what we can start with is who you are, where you came from, and give the listeners a little background of how you got to where you are today. Okay. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here. It's nice. Colleen's your hookup. She is amazing.
Yeah, she is. She's like my connector.
That's the best. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm from out west. I'm from originally, I guess I was born and raised on a 900 head cattle farm in Saskatchewan. And I was there till...
Where in Saskatchewan?
East End.
Oh, really?
It's a little town in the south end of Saskatchewan.
Okay, I was born in Saskatoon.
No, I was born in Swiftcart.
Oh, really? I don't know where that is. I moved here when I was 3, but
okay, all right. So I got a bit of a longer run there.
Oh yeah.
So I was like just a teenager when we left the farm, and then we went to Medicine Hat, Alberta.
Okay.
And then I lived there till I was like 30, and then we moved out here. We came here because of free pizza. Basically, I was doing my computer-aided drafting and design, and a company came hiring for Calgary. It was piping design. I wasn't going to go because I didn't want to do piping design. I wanted to do architecture, but they had pizza, so I went, and I ended up loving the company.
Like literally pizza?
Literally pizza brought me here.
Oh God, that's hilarious. Yeah, pizza brings people together, right?
Pizza's amazing. So Calgary's too big for me, so I looked them up a little bit, Googled them, and saw they had an office in St. John, New Brunswick. So that's where we moved. My husband at the time and my boys were 2 when we moved out here. It was a bit of an adventure.
You have twin boys?
I have twin boys.
Okay,
yeah, they're cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're 14 now. It's crazy.
Right on.
Yeah, so I've been out here for 12 years, New Brunswick 2 years, and then we moved to Riverview.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So, I understand that you encountered some challenges.
Yeah, for sure. So as a farm life was amazing. It had all kinds of wicked things. I mean, I was around animals. I had horses. I did like barrel racing, the rodeo thing, and all that kind of stuff. But also, both my parents had really bad addiction issues. They were both heavy drinkers. Yeah. So I didn't do the childhood thing too much, I guess. I know that friends of theirs had told me a few times that it was almost kind of creepy that I was like the adult. I took on that role as a way too young child, I guess. So yeah, I did that. I faced kind of addiction, worked my way through that. And then, believe it or not, I led to my own addiction. So when we moved to Alberta, I ended up I had a little too much freedom. Okay. And
how old were you at that point?
I was like 13, and that's about when she went off the rails.
Okay.
So I got into everything I could get into. Tried everything, all the addictions.
Okay. So you found like your parents having addictions themselves made it a little bit easier for you, or did it turn you off a bit at first? Or?
A bit at first. It's funny how it is. I was like, I'll never, and then I will. But I guess they were drinking. I wasn't into drinking. I was more into the drug culture, I guess, at that time. So that was my way to go. And then I spent a lot of time looking for the love I didn't have at home as well, unfortunately, which isn't really the healthiest thing to do as a young teenage girl. Yeah. So I did that, but then when I got to around my 20s, I realized it was like make or break. If I wanted to keep waking up in the morning, I needed to get my stuff together. Yeah. And so I found new addictions, which was exercise and eating healthier and positive
Yeah.
living and finding a different crowd and
So
that
you
kind of
so you
thing.
completely stopped like your addictions, or did you?
No, I don't think so. I love whiskey.
Yeah.
Miss you, whiskey. I can't drink now with my
Yeah.
marathon.
Yeah.
But I have a level of control, I guess.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
personally, I know that weed is legal and everything, and that's fine. It's just not for me
Mhm.
anymore. I guess that's just who I am. I smoked cigarettes for years. I mean, I haven't done that in a long time. So,
Mhm.
but I enjoy a drink or two.
So when you were in your 20s and you started to make changes, obviously you saw that things were gonna go downhill if you kept the way you were going. Or?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
definitely,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well-
I didn't get in positive relationships. I
Yeah.
didn't get in positive anything. My ex-husband is a very calm, different man. I needed that. I'm not a calm person.
Yeah.
That's what I needed to have kids with. So like it was really good. I have two amazing boys, and
Yeah.
I'd have to give him some credit for that, I
Yeah,
guess.
I guess so. Yeah. Was there like a major event that happened that kind of sparked you to start living more positively? At
I
that
think
point?
so. I was in a bit I have a corneal transplant due to trauma, so
Okay.
I left a party once and someone followed me and wasn't very kind to me, to say the least. So that was probably what changed.
Okay.
That was probably the pivotal event, right?
Yeah, you just saw that it would basically keep getting worse, and
Yeah.
you had to like do something or
Right.
change. Yeah.
So
And so
pain is an amazing teacher.
Pain is a great teacher,
Pain
right?
really,
Because
really
it's
is.
pain is a messenger, and it tells us that something is wrong.
Right.
So, as a massage therapist, I mean, you learn a lot about injuries, and I've had a lot of injuries myself. But when you have an injury or a physical trauma or any type of pain, that's your body's response mechanism telling you that something is wrong and you need to fix it. So pain is actually a good thing. It's like a messenger.
Absolutely.
And if you don't do anything about it, it's going to get worse, and that signal's going to get louder and louder and louder. And kind of like it reflects into life in that way, where I feel like we have emotional pain and emotional trauma, and it reacts in a similar way. Like when we feel negative emotions, that's actually just a signal telling us that something's wrong and we need to do something to change it, because we want to feel good and be in a state of balance or homeostasis, the
Right.
scientific term.
Right.
And so it's really interesting, but it can be a really great teacher, because I mean,
Absolutely.
with each challenge, which can be considered a pain of its own, we get stronger and stronger. Like that's why these days I'm learning to embrace challenges, because I know that they're going to make me stronger. So it's like, yes, this sucks. I'm going to be way stronger at the end of it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's what I try to do. And some days it's not easy, right? Some things are events that aren't that easy to do, but if you can kind of find that mindset
Yeah.
and, refocus, sometimes not every day you're going to feel like that. I mean, personally, I come from genetic a little crazy, to say the least, right? Like we have tempers a-flaring, and I find each generation it's been a little diluted.
Mhm.
My father was a little more than me, and his mother was a little stronger even than he was with the emotional outburst kind of thing. But I find that I don't find all intense negative emotions are negative. Like I think sometimes you need that anger, sometimes you need to feel those things
Oh yeah.
to get through them. Like I feel
Yeah.
a lot of people want to kind of kibosh it. No, I'm not
No.
mad. And
No, that's the worst thing you can do.
You're freaking mad. Be
Yeah.
mad.
Yeah.
Get it out. Deal with
Yeah.
it.
And it's okay to get angry. I mean,
Exactly.
we're
That's
humans.
probably how I got into MMA when I came out here.
Oh, really? Yeah.
It was an amazing.
Yeah.
That was when I moved to St. John, I actually started jiu-jitsu, Japanese jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what it was, but I loved it. And then when I came here, I ended up at Victory Jiu-Jitsu and at Spitfire Muay Thai, and loved them. Just loved them. It was like I was in my place.
Yeah.
And then I had a couple MMA fights.
Yeah.
And it was huge for me. It was an amazing way to channel
Yeah.
that energy.
Exactly. And anger is passion, right? And when we can use anger to be productive or counterproductive. And so essentially unfiltered passion. That's when we can use anger to destroy things in our life, but we can also use anger as productive passion and channel it in a way with MMA. So that's essentially what you were doing, was channeling that inner passion and that inner desire to have control over something and do something in your life for yourself to make you feel better. And that's exactly what you did. Would you agree with
Absolutely.
that? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And it felt great.
Yeah. So I've never been in an MMA fight, but I just have to ask, like, what's it like being in a fight?
Crazy. I've tried to match the intensity of it. I've like bungee jumped, I've skydived, I've done a couple Tough Mudders and like things like that. Nothing matches that I've found yet. Nothing matches. It's the epitome of like the training when you have. What I'm doing now, I've been able to focus my training because I'm so committed to the whole idea of what I'm doing. But it's been since my fights, I haven't been at this level of commitment because someone's going to try to hurt me, and so I'm not going to let that happen. So I'm going to train so that I can,
I find that so interesting because, I mean, I grew up, I played football, and a football game is intense. Like, there's so much emotions and all that stuff, but I can only imagine like an MMA fight or boxing match or anything like that. It's like the next level of things.
The click of that cage.
The
click of that cage door is like, that's a sound that will be with me till the day I call her quits.
Exactly. You're just like in the moment about to fight a stranger.
Exactly.
And maybe most of the time you probably have nothing against each other and you're just doing it for the sport of it, and you kind of just both understand that.
Right, it is. It's beautiful in its way, and I know some people won't see that beauty, but it's beautiful in that way.
It's an art.
It is. Yeah. And I'm actually a member of the New Brunswick Combat Sports Commission now. Yeah. I've been on that for 4 years, and I'm very honored to be there because it's huge to stay involved in the sport for me. Yeah. And the level of discipline that I see has only got greater in the years. People are so dedicated to the sport. They train so hard. It's amazing.
Do you ever train people?
No, I don't. I did a little bit of boxing training. I never thought of myself as a coach that way as much. I enjoyed it, but I think, I don't know. I feel like I leave that to the experts.
Yeah, you like doing it more. Yeah, well, I mean, we all have our niche. Right. That's good.
Right.
What was I gonna say about MMA fighting? Oh, I was gonna say that MMA fighting, it seems like you had a lot of commitment and dedication to train for that, and that's like what I see right now. I mean, I haven't known you for very long, but you're training for this 50 kilometer marathon, and that takes like a level of commitment and dedication like beyond the average person's understanding. So it sounds like when you wanted to make a change and move from that toxic lifestyle, you did that because of your commitment and dedication.
Right.
And you channel that in towards something that was productive.
Yes.
Right?
And since then I've fallen off that commitment and dedication, but I don't let that stop me. I've had points. I've had a few points where I've been really low, but I know, like, I don't stay there. Yeah. Even when I'm at my lowest, I know I'm not staying here. I know I'm here. I know it sucks. Yeah. I know I just need to kind of figure it out. It might take some time, but I'm not staying there. Like, I just kind of...
the camera. That's so funny. Okay. So the camera fell, and I'm going to take this as an opportunity to tell you that if you or your business would like to sponsor Amy on her run, please contact her directly, or donations can be dropped off at the Maritime Hydraulic Repair Center on McNaughton Avenue in Moncton, Good Life Fitness Center on 175 Ivan Road in Moncton, or the Humanity Project at 449 St. George Street. Or you can visit the humanityproject.ca/how-to-help. So that's humanityproject.ca/how-to-help. Or you can e-transfer, which I'll include all of this information in the show notes to make it easy for you to do. If you can't donate, just support Amy on her run. Share everything you can because somebody you know might want to help. Duct tape.
The secret
this
tool.
Fixes everything.
There you go.
And we're back. So, so what were we talking? Okay, so we were talking about MMA. Oh, and how you were reaching like the lowest points.
Right. Yeah, I guess, and just not staying there. I just always knew I wasn't going to stay there, so I've always fought my way back, and I think that physically for me,
Mm-hmm.
that is a huge part of it, as well as, you know, mentally figuring things out. But being physical is a game changer for me. I need it.
Exactly, because there's a physical reward of the endorphins and the rush that you get from it, and the sense of accomplishment.
Right.
That's like a big one, because you get that. It's a reward mechanism.
I mean, I realize with me it's probably an addiction, but it is what it is, right? It's better than the alternative. So.
Yeah, exactly. And ultimately, I mean, that's a way better addiction than any sort of drug or alcohol or whatever.
Exactly.
And like, you can continue to do that addiction of exercise and all that stuff while you get to the root of why you want to do that in the first place, right?
Exactly.
So it can be a really good tool to bring you to where you need to be. Like, I think it's a healthy tool. But yeah, like you said, I mean, sometimes we end up, like, we do better. Like you said, you were in a place where you started to do better, and then you started to go a little bit more downhill again.
Yeah.
And but that is okay, right? Because I mean, that's just all the stuff.
That's life.
Yeah, that's just life.
It's just not okay to stay there.
No,
it's just not okay to give right up.
Yeah.
It's just not. And you just gotta, and no one else is gonna save you.
Exactly.
No one else has to deal with your stuff, and you just gotta figure it out. And if something's not working, you gotta try something else, and you gotta figure it out.
Yeah, it's always important too to remember that everything's temporary.
Exactly.
And whatever, even if it's the worst thing you're experiencing, it is still temporary, and it's gonna end at some point.
Right, and something worse is gonna come up even.
Yeah,
so.
and
Don't worry about it.
There's a saying that I always like to use because it's relevant. Is you have to feel it to heal it. So when we feel anger, when we feel upset, when we are having trauma of any sort, even if it's pain, we kind of gotta like feel it, accept it in order to change it and heal it, right? Feel it to heal it. So
like that.
Yeah, feel it to heal it. Yeah, it's good.
It's a true story.
Yeah, I mean, I've done that lots of times in my life, and I find like the more I embrace whatever I'm feeling at the moment, the easier it is to process and to move on in the next.
Right. Shoving stuff down a hole isn't going to help you.
No, exactly. Because like any sort of emotions or trauma that we're experiencing, it's something, it's just like food. Except in this case, it's poison food. And we have to digest it and let it like pass. And a lot of the times in life, I feel like myself and a lot of people, we don't end up digesting them. And we kind of, like you said before, shove them to the side and like try to ignore them because we feel like, oh, this is bad. Like I'm just going to move on. I'm going to like change my mind. I'm going to watch TV. I'm going to eat food. I'm going to drink alcohol because I don't want to feel this. It's not good to feel angry. It's not good to feel upset. I got to do this instead, when in fact you actually have to like...
You have to face it.
Yeah, like look at it right in the face and be like, okay, you're there. I need to like get rid of you somehow.
Listen, demon.
And change it. Yeah. Yeah.
You do though.
Bring in
you gotta own them.
The only way you can get rid of darkness, I mean, if you walk into a room that's pitch black, how do you get rid of the darkness? You shine your flashlight on it, which means just looking at it. And like that's how you bring light to an area. That's how you make a change.
Right.
Yeah. So
exactly.
And you're a really good example of really the commitment and dedication you have. So obviously, you know, you can use that to your advantage. You can be committed to overcome any sort of addictions that you have, any sort of challenges that you're experiencing. For myself, I am blessed. I came from a really good home, a good family, and they never demonstrated any sort of alcohol addictions, maybe food addictions. Maybe that's probably where I got my food habits from. The best side of my family loves food, but
it's hard not to love
food.
It is.
Yeah. But anyway, through my own challenges myself, losing weight and my mental health problems that I overcame, and the physical challenges and all that stuff, like I was telling you before, and I say all the time on my podcast, it's a physical representation of what transformed internally. And people ask me all the time, how did you lose weight? And there's a million things I did. I mean, I didn't follow one specific diet. I did every diet you can imagine. I tried different exercise programs. Now I work out like once a week, and I do cycling once or twice a week, and that's enough for me to stay fit and stay healthy. So the main thing is, and this is key, is I made the choice to change. And not only did I make the choice, but I decided and I believed that I could do it. Not only did I believe, but I had faith that I could achieve my weight loss and be happy and be healthy in every aspect of my life.
And the ambition, you have to have that, because
Yes.
the intelligence without the ambition is like a bird without the wings, right?
Exactly.
You need to have that. You need to push yourself.
Yeah, and if you don't have the ambition, it's really good to look to other people who have done it themselves, because they can give you the inspiration. And if you don't see if you don't see that it's possible, you're never going to do anything. You're going to stay where you are. We won't move until we see that it's possible. If we're hungry and we want a pear from a tree, we're not going to start walking until we know there's a pear on a tree that we can go walk towards. So as soon as we know our goal is possible, that's when we'll start walking towards it. And that's why it's really good to like find people who overcome addictions or weight loss or whatever, and they can show you how it's done, or at least just be an example. And then It's you that does the work. It's you that goes and walks towards that yourself. And like anybody who's ever done any sort of work to transform their life, I don't think any of us had any advantage over anybody. I think it's just a recognizing of our own potential and realizing like that we are capable of anything. And it sounds cliche, but it is true. And you know, it's kind of funny. Eminem told me a long time ago, you can do anything you set your mind to, man. And,
but it is like you can set your mind to do it, or you can set your limits to fail.
Exactly.
Like it's all mental, and there's 1,000 excuses I could come up with every day not to do this run.
Yeah.
My knees hurt, my legs hurt, I don't want to, I'm tired,
Exactly.
It's early, it's hot, it's humid. There's a million things I could say. But unfortunately, I'm not doing that.
Exactly.
Like,
That's a really good phrase that you just said. Like, you can set your mind or you can set your limits.
And it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. It's completely you. It's completely you. Our potential is so much more than most of us allow ourselves to even see.
Absolutely.
And it's unfortunate for that, but it's just something that no one can believe in you the way you can believe in you. No one can love you the way you love you. I think that's another thing. People are looking for that elsewhere, and you can't. You gotta love your bad self.
Yeah.
I know I'm crazy, but I'm mostly good crazy. I'm fine with it. I love who I am. I didn't have much of a childhood, like I said.
Yeah.
I act a fool the vast majority of the time. Like I do. I act silly. I love it. I'm good with it. It is what it is. I am what I am.
Exactly, and that's important. You're embracing your unique authenticity, and you're expressing your authenticity, and that's really important. I think a lot of us grow up and we suppress our inner child, which is very important because
mine was suppressed for far too long.
Yeah.
She gotta come out.
Yeah. And I feel like most people go through that to some sort of degree, because we're living in a society where you're kind of just taught or shown that you need to be an adult and pay bills and do all this stuff, and you got to do adulting.
Right.
In reality, like, I mean, it's not good to suppress our childhood self, because what is childhood? It's you look at an innocent child who doesn't have any like obstacles in their life, and what do they exhibit? Joy. They exhibit joy, living
and accomplishment nonstop.
Yeah, living in the present moment, just like looking for stuff to do, to have fun. Like life is a playground. That's what it should be for us.
Exactly.
And we should have fun with it and not take things too seriously.
And that's the thing. Like with everything that happened to me, I could be like, "Oh, poor me. This sucks." But instead, I find that everything that happened to me was a gift. And like we said earlier, pain's a teacher. And I take the pains that I suffered, and I think that it made me more able to deal with things now, which made me stronger. And like I said, now I get to be a kid, and I got kids that kind of think that's all right for now.
Yeah.
So
that's right. Your greatest turmoil can be your greatest gift.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it can sometimes things happen and we don't know why they do in the moment, but you know, in the future it brings us to where we are today. And maybe your past like has inspired you obviously to do good for others, which is our next topic about how, you know, you're doing a run for not just like you're doing it for yourself,
right?
Because it's something that you can overcome, right? Something that you want to accomplish,
right?
You were going to do it anyway.
Well, I was. So the thing with me is that I was going to, when 2020 started and it was normal. Remember, like the first day of 2020 when it was normal?
Yeah.
There was like a day there. It's hard to remember.
Yeah.
But I had one of those positive influences actually that encouraged me to try a marathon. He said it's about time you do that.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Maybe it is about time I did that. So I started training training. My best friend runs the New Good Life. So I started training there and running on the treadmill, and I was getting in the zone, even got good shoes. And then 2020 hit, the real 2020, right? And everything went off the rails, and my marathon that was going to be in PEI was canceled. And so, as I spoke of whiskey before, I went back and had enjoyed some of that versus, the training. I was like, well, what the hell?
You felt a little discouraged?
I did. I felt a little discouraged, and I was like, oh, well, forget it. But I couldn't forget it, and I couldn't continue that. And I have my two reasons. My twin boys are my reasons for everything. Yeah. So I decided I was still going to do it. And then during one of my lows as well, a few years back, is when I started at the Humanity Project. And that brought me out of my low. That was huge for me. Going there, and it's called the Humanity Project for a reason. And the friends, as well as the volunteers, are all treated with humanity and love and caring and compassion. My boys volunteer there, and it changed them. So that brought me around to decide that I was going to do this marathon, but I was going to do more of a marathon. That was 42. I'm going to do what considered anything over that's an ultra marathon, and I'm going to do it for the Humanity Project. And it's in support, which is very true to my heart, of the new addiction rehabilitation center that is in the beginnings. And so that is why I'm running. I'm running from the Humanity Project on St. George Street to Abateau Beach in Capelé because I like that beach.
Hey, you'll be able to take a dip when you get there.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
I love that place.
That'll be super
So
refreshing.
that's a couple places that I love. And as not a runner, like my training is MMA. It's short. It's bursts of quick, fast cardio, and it's none of the steady state stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not. It might not be a huge distance for some people, but for me, it's a beast.
That's a great distance.
It's a beast.
I don't run at all. I mean, I have previous knee injuries, and that would take a lot for me to train to do that. So that's super good. I know, like, experienced runners, that's like a big run for them.
Well, I ran, like, before this podcast, I got up this morning at 5 a.m. because it's hot this year, too. I've been running at 4 or 5 a.m, and I did my longest so far. I did 31 kilometers this morning. So.
Yeah. Hey, that's a challenge that'll make you stronger, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, running and doing this marathon to raise money for the Humanity Project, I mean, like I said before, you're doing this for yourself, and you're going to do this anyway in PEI. But now it's kind of like has a greater meaning because you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it to help other people. It's
got a huge meaning. This morning was oddly emotional. I'm either on or off, but my last kilometer, I was running and I was waterworks. So it means a lot to me. It means a lot to the. This is the level of commitment I find now. I'm doing this not for me. I'm doing this for. I don't know, about 300 people. I feel like I'm doing it for those people, and mostly I feel like I'm doing it for my kids to show them they're the next generation, and that the project has changed them in ways I can't describe. Their ability to see people at all levels as people. They have no real boundaries that way. They're not uncomfortable around the homeless. They're not uncomfortable around seeing addiction. I think it's given them a light on drugs that you're not going to get at school by watching a video saying don't do drugs. They see the physical and mental and the ramifications of it all.
Exactly, and they see them as people.
Yeah, they do.
They say that the last stage of healing is helping others heal. So definitely, that's what I feel like I'm going through. I mean, I've healed a lot in my own life, and I'm still healing.
Right.
And my last stage of healing is helping others, and that's exactly what you're doing. You're helping others while at the same time helping yourself. And
I feel like it's a twofer.
Yeah, exactly, and it gives a greater meaning, and that brings me to my next point. It's so important to either create a meaning for yourself or believe that you already have a destined purpose in your life, because when you attach a greater meaning to things, it drives greater action. And when you are doing a marathon to raise money for people, it's going to drive you to want to actually do it compared to just yourself, because then you can get a little bit discouraged. But I mean, I think we're all in this together. I think there's a reason why when we are kind to others that we experience the feel-good hormones. I think we're wired to be kind, and it's in us to give and to be helpful and to be kind to others, because that just like helps things function more fluently and harmoniously. Like, I mean, you look at nature and you see anthills, and the ants are systematically working harmoniously with each other. You don't see them arguing with each other or like being lazy or whatever. They're all just doing what they need to do, and they're doing it for each other. And that's the more we do that as humans, the better world we will live in, which is really the premise of my podcast, or my platform anyway. Best Interest is when we do what's in our own best interest in our life, it actually ends up being the best interest for everybody, because we'll end up living harmoniously, because it is in our best interest to do things not just for ourselves but for others. But we can still do it for ourselves as well, just as you're doing.
I believe so. I believe it. Like I said, it is. It's totally a twofer. And I think I'm excited to shine as much of a light as I can on this, on mental health, and there not being the stigma. Like, okay, Jordan, you broke your leg. You were walking across the crosswalk, the light said go, and a car hit you and you broke your leg. What are you doing next?
Well, I'm gonna hope somebody helps me.
Right, or you're gonna go to the hospital.
Yeah,
like you're gonna get it fixed, right?
Yeah.
But what if your friends, what if there was a stigma around the broken leg? What if a broken leg, people thought, oh, you're weak, or you're not gonna, you can't get better now, he's got a broken leg. What if people stopped hanging out with you because you had a broken leg? What if doors closed? What if you couldn't get a job because you had a broken leg? What if that's the way it was? How would you feel? What if you wouldn't go to the hospital and get it fixed because you know how people feel about people with a broken leg?
Yeah.
So you just suffered with that physical pain, and it got worse and it got worse.
Yeah.
And you ended up losing your fucking toes because of, because of this broken leg.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is so much with mental.
Yeah.
There's so much stigma around it that people are scared still to this day. A lot of people are scared to openly talk about it. A lot of people are scared to get help about it.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people do have judgment about it. And I think that needs to stop, period. Because that's a huge part of the train to addiction. Addiction, drugs. Like, I don't believe weed is a gateway drug. I believe trauma is a gateway. I believe that pain is a gateway. I believe that addiction is a gateway from generations before.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really big one right there, is like the drugs themselves aren't the gateway. It's the trauma and it's the emotions. And like we talked about before the podcast, any sort of pleasure that you're looking to fill a gap is never going to fill it. You need to be fulfilled by essentially letting go of whatever's blocking it.
Right.
And then you can allow like yourself to experience what you truly deserve, which is loving family, friends, and people around you. And I was gonna say as well with the brain fart.
Took your thoughts away. That happens sometimes.
Took my thoughts away. But anyway, for the stigmatization, like mental health and addictions and and homelessness in general, there's like such a stigmatization, and it comes from a lack of understanding. Like, if you don't understand something, that's going to create judgment, because judgment is really just a lack of understanding. Because if you understand something, that's when judgment gets replaced with compassion. And when we have compassion, that will drive our action to help people, right?
Exactly.
And I think the more we can kind of realize that and take a step back and look at things from the bigger picture, and most importantly, listen to what other people have to say without getting angry or defensive if it goes against your own beliefs or view on reality or something, that's when we can truly make progress. And I think the Humanity Project, it really plays a big role in that, because when I talked to Charles on my podcast, he was mentioning how a lot of the problem with homelessness is, first of all, he sees them and advocates to see them as people who are homeless, not homeless people. But they actually struggle to see value within themselves, and that's part of how they became homeless, and that's actually what keeps them there, because they struggle to see value in themselves. But in my eyes, I see them as people, and I see them having infinite value and the infinite potential to make changes in their life and to sustain them. And if we can and when you're in that deep of a hole, one could say you're never going to get out of it unless you have help from others. And that's where we come in, and we can show them their true worth, and then they can start to finally believe it and start to practice it in their own life.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a huge part of this addiction rehabilitation center too. It's going to be a lot different than anything you've seen around here. It's going to be completely about that, about giving people back that sense of self.
Yeah.
And really not looking for affordable homes, which is more than a problem here, or just looking for a Band-Aid. It's not. It's about going right to the core.
Yes.
And working with people and making people understand their own worth.
Yeah, we need to create opportunity and solutions for people and for us in our own lives. And essentially, when we help other people find solutions for themselves, it ends up helping us in return. Because now we're
1,000%.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of funny. Music is my passion. I love music. I'm a musician.
I like music.
Yeah. Are you a musician?
Absolutely not. But I can't. I run to metal.
Hey.
I that's more of my rage.
Yeah. That's how you express yourself. That's how you let it out.
Yeah.
You can be the dancer to the music, right? Yeah. So music is my passion. And ultimately, if I could pick one thing I'd do forever, it'd be play music. But I feel so passionate about helping other people because I just want to go to bed at night and rest assured that we live in a better world, or I did something today to help somebody, or ultimately I'd rather just live in a perfect world. So that's what drives me to do stuff like this.
Right.
And
I'm glad you do it. It's awesome.
Yeah. And if we don't do this, I mean, it's just gonna keep happening. And I truly believe that anything's possible. And if you don't believe anything's possible, you're not believing enough. And there's been lots of things throughout history that have happened where people said they're not possible, whether it's airplanes or somebody overcoming cancer or something, and they've happened. So
I never thought I'd run a marathon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If that can happen, anything can happen.
So it's just not possible yet.
Right.
You have to make it possible, and you have to put the work in. You have to have the help and support in order to do that. And so for anybody's listening, you don't have to run a marathon to help people.
No, you don't. And you can just do one little thing. Just start by helping one little person, or doing one little thing. It doesn't have to be grand, but it will end up probably leading you down a path of enjoying it just so much and wanting to help more.
Exactly. There's a saying that even just a smile can change somebody's day, because it makes them feel like they're valued. And if you can do that, that's all you need to do, is just smile at somebody. I mean, you don't have masks on, so you can just go like this.
Hell, if I was rich, I'd just give money. It'd be a hell of a lot easier than this run, but unfortunately I'm not. So.
But hey, I mean, we can give all the money in the world, but money's not going to help people see value in themselves,
it's
right?
Not.
Yeah,
it's not.
Yeah, they need to feel like they're worthy and feel like they're connected.
Yeah.
So do something today to be kind, and whether that's just a smile or kind words to somebody or whatever it is. But yeah, that's super awesome. Super pumped that you're doing the marathon.
Well, thank you. I'm super excited to do it.
Is Colleen going to be running next to you with a camera?
Yeah, I believe she might be. She said she's going to try to film some of it, but I've got an amazing support group. My best friend Lisa, she's taken the reins on tons of stuff. She's doing gift baskets up, so they're going to be auctioning those off. She's running around the businesses like mad, getting sponsorship and things like that. A really important part to me is my boys and her are beginning it with me. They're gonna bike the first 5K, and then they're gonna bike the last 10K with me as well. So she might actually be running the last 5 kilometers.
Oh, really?
With me
That's
too.
awesome.
So
that'll be really good motivation.
It's huge.
It'll
Yeah.
get you to the end, yeah.
They're like, "Oh, we'll bring Kleenex, Mom, because you'll be crying." I'm like, "Yep."
Yeah.
Bring it.
Yeah.
Because it will. I know it's going to be a pretty emotional experience.
Oh yeah,
so,
that'll be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to see the
Awesome.
end
You
result
better
of
be at the
that.
beach then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the beach. Yeah. I'll
Attaboy.
be swimming around in
Attaboy.
circles. Yeah.
Yeah, we're having like a bit of a celebration at the beach that day at the end. So it's October 17th. There's a couple bands that are going to be playing too. And so COVID friendly, COVID not friendly, either people will be on the beach or in their cars, whatever we got to do, we'll
Whatever
do.
you have to do it.
Yeah, we want to have a good turnout for it. So.
Yeah. So if I could sum it up, it sounds like the ups and downs you've been through in your life and the things you've overcame and are still overcoming, what the key things that have helped you go through that would be, I mean, you mentioned your twin boys.
Yeah, I think another key thing is just to be easy with your bad self. Like I've accepted myself, like I said, I've accepted that I've got a fiery ass temper and sometimes I don't behave the greatest. When I'm mad, it is what it is. You know, there has to be limits, right? Like you can't stab someone in the eye. That's not cool.
No.
But you have to, like you have to understand, take it easy on yourself. Every day you're not going to be amazing.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna, and people that struggle with these struggles, I fight my demons every day.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I know them by name, you know?
Yeah.
Like most of the time we get along.
Yeah.
So I think it's just having that compassion and that kindness and that care, have that for yourself as much as for other people.
Exactly.
And it goes around.
Yeah, you want to replace all that self-shame and guilt with kindness and compassion for yourself.
Yeah.
And
I know sometimes I do some things. I live my life 70-30. All of it. I find food, morals, values.
That's good, yeah.
So I know that I do some things that, you know, wouldn't be the best.
Yeah.
I try for the most part to be good.
Yeah, I mean, if we're on Earth, I think we are all a work in progress, and we all have something that we can be better at, or heal from, or do better. And I think accepting that, and just working every day, and just recognizing that it's okay to go through these negative experiences, I think that's like key. But from what I gather, to sum it up, you found a passion and meaning in helping other people, which seems to drive you forward. Your kids seem to drive you forward, and one could say that believing in something greater than yourself is what helped move you forward.
Very much.
Which is your children and people.
Yeah.
You want other people to feel good, right?
Exactly. I mean, I was that person that would walk by like someone, a homeless person, and kind of try to want to look away because I didn't know how to deal. I didn't know what to do, and I would rather, it was just like when you're not dealing with your own stuff. It was the same. It was exactly the same thing. You know, I'm honored that the Humanity Project has taught me that humanity, and this is the least I can do to show my thanks.
Absolutely, it's such a good demonstration, and you know, everybody's only doing the best they can in the ways that they know how, and sometimes that way is not very good at all, but it's still a fact. I mean, they're just doing the best they can. That's all they know how. If they knew better, they'd be doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I mean, you go to these people and be like, well, do better, and they'd be like, how? Like, how do I do it?
Right.
You show me. I love to do better. It's hard. I can't do it. You know.
Yeah.
Nothing comes easy though, right? You gotta have that courage to face your demons and to believe that you can move through them. And there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Everything is temporary, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So super excited for your Humanity Project journey.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to say or add to this whole experience?
Donate. Join us. Be there. Come to the Humanity Project and see what it's all about.
Yeah.
There's never a shortage of, you know, that we can always find something for people to do.
Absolutely.
It's an amazing place.
Yeah.
The opportunities are endless for all of us there.
Yeah. So I think I'll end it at, you know, if you want to feel better and do better in your own life, do something for other people. So anyways, thanks for coming on and talking and sharing your story.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was great. Super good.